What's going on, Harry Potter fans? My name is Dawson Reddin. I'm a proud Gryffindor, and welcome back to the fantastic Reddins and where to find them. I hope you're all doing well. Today is a video that you have been asking for ever since I posted my video of the Cinereplicas Firebolt, and that is a comparison video of the Cinereplicas Firebolt versus the Noble Collection Firebolt. These are both very heavy brooms. My arms are burning. So without further ado, let's jump into today's video. Accio intro. Once again, if you're new here, my name is Dawson Reddin, and on this channel we talk all things Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts, and Hogwarts Legacy content. So if you are into the wizarding world at all, please consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed. And if you are subscribed, hit that notification bell. That way you're notified of any future videos that I post here on the channel. Today, like I said, we're going to be talking about the Cinereplicas Firebolt versus the Noble Collection Firebolt, because I own both of them and I have some thoughts. Now, they say that when you get a new item in your collection, and this could go for anything, that there is a honeymoon phase. That honeymoon phase eventually sometimes will fade away, and sometimes it won't. Now with the Cinereplicas Firebolt, there was a honeymoon phase, and I really did love this broom on first initial impressions. When I unboxed it, I opened it for you all, and we put it together. I really did love the broom. But it's been over a week now, and problems are starting to arise, and so we have to discuss those problems. I'm always 110% transparent and will give you an honest review. I never will say something is great that is not great, especially when we're talking about $500, okay? This broom from Cinereplicas is $500. That's a lot of money. Some people cannot afford to go out and purchase a broom, and some people can only afford to go out and purchase one broom, or maybe they just want one broom in their collection. They don't want two Firebolts. So we're going to compare the two, the Cinereplicas and the Noble Collection version. I'm going to give you the pros and cons to each one, and then we're going to try to determine a winner of that. And we're also going to talk about all the issues that have arose since I have purchased this Cinereplicas Firebolt, because I think as a collector you need to be aware, you need to know what you're getting into when you purchase this item. Now the main differences that you are probably already aware of between these two brooms is one is made of complete wood, which is from Cinereplicas, and the Noble Collection is made of a resin. Now the bristles on the Cinereplicas is also done of wood bristles, and the Noble Collection version is done of a plastic bristle. The Noble Collection's version is not limited at all, but the Cinereplicas is limited to 10,000 pieces worldwide, so it is a limited edition broomstick as well, versus the Noble Collection. Until they decide that they're going to retire it, it is available for purchase. The next big difference between the two is going to be price difference. The Noble Collection Firebolt comes in at $299. That's right, $299 for the Noble Collection version. If you're going to go with the Cinereplicas version, the all-wood version, you're going to be paying a premium price of $499.99. $500 US. That is a huge difference between these two brooms. So when you're getting something like the Cinereplicas broom, you're going to expect a premium broomstick for that premium price. One of the next big differences between these two brooms is going to be the color scheming of the handle portion itself. Now, if you look at the handle portion on the Noble Collection version, you're going to have a more of a wood look to it. The next big difference is going to be the handle portion of the broom, and there's actually two things on this broom handle that is different. Now with the Noble Collection version, you're going to be getting a more wood grain looking underneath. So the underneath portion of this handle is going to look a little more like wood and have that kind of rustic look to it, and in my opinion it looks a little bit more screen accurate than what we're going to be getting with the Cinereplicas version. If we take a look at the Cinereplicas version, as you're going to see here, it actually has this weird greenish gray tint to it that doesn't look anything like it does in the film. And honestly, after looking at it over time for this past week, I can say that it honestly just doesn't look that great. So next on the handle, we're actually going to be taking a look at the ruins. If you look at the ruins, they are very similar, but they are actually a little bit different at the same time. The Noble Collection ruins do look a little different compared to the Cinereplica ruins, and I really need to sit down and do some research to find out which one is more screen accurate. I don't think that this part of either broom is a make or break. They both look really, really good. And I think that because the Cinereplicas version is hand carved versus the Noble Collection probably being done in a manufacturing plant, I would say that, you know, that's a pass for me. I don't care that they are different. I think that it looks good, and I do not have a problem with that department. As we move down the broom, you're going to notice that the actual leg portions of these two brooms are also completely and utterly different from one another. The Noble Collection version is a silver version, and if you take a look at the Cinereplicas version, you're going to be getting a more of a goldish color. Now, neither of these are screen accurate, but I will say that when it comes to the color, the Cinereplicas version is a lot more similar in color to the films versus the Noble Collection broom. The Noble Collection broom silver is not anywhere near the right color, so there is a big miss there in that department. So definitely color-wise, the Cinereplicas version is going to win on the leg color department, if you will. If you take a look at the back of this leg portion, you're going to notice that on the Noble Collection version, we have these lines that come down. This is screen accurate to the movies, and the Cinereplicas version are missing these lines. These lines are not to be seen on the Cinereplicas version versus the Noble Collection version. So when it comes to the lines, Noble Collection got that right. When it comes to the color, Cinereplicas got that right. So both of them are getting some things right and others not. So take it for what you will. The next big difference in the legs is going to be the shape themselves. The Cinereplicas version is massive. They have massive legs on them. They're really hard to find a place to honestly display this unless you hang it up. The Noble Collection version comes in a lot more narrow, and I believe is a lot more screen accurate compared to the Cinereplicas version. Now, the Cinereplicas legs do not look bad. They actually look really, really good. But I think in comparison, the size of the one on the Noble Collection is a little bit more accurate compared to the Cinereplicas legs. Now, if we get down into the bristles themselves, this is another huge difference. On the Noble Collection version, those bristles are going to be made of like a plastic material, but they are going to hold up over time. They're going to stand the test of time, and honestly, they do not look bad. They look full, they look good, and you can't really tell they're plastic until you start getting up close and messing with them. Now, what is cool about the Cinereplicas version is that it does use real bristles for the broom. Now, there has been a ton of complaints in the Harry Potter community of people who have already bought this broom saying that the bristles are too small. The actual end of the broom, where all the bristles are bunched together, that it is too small as a whole, and it needs to be a lot fuller, a lot wider. And honestly, I have noticed that when getting these brooms, there is a huge difference in quality between one broom and another. Some brooms look really, really good in the bristle department. They look full, they look great, and then others kind of look squared off. Maybe they're really small. The bristle portions just don't look like they're full enough. So there is some type of quality issue in that department. I was lucky enough to get one that looks pretty full and the bristles don't look too bad on. So I'm not super unhappy with the bristles on the Cinereplicas Firebolt when it comes to the overall look of them, but I do have issues with these bristles, which we're going to get into. Another thing that I'd like to point out about the bristles is on the Noble Collection version, if you take a look at the Harry Potter films, you take a look at the Firebolt, there's these two pieces of wood that are a lot bigger that lay on the top and have this weird kind of shape to them. They kind of curve in and out. Now, if you look at the Noble Collection version, the broom is missing that. But if you take a look at the Cinereplicas version, although they are not the right size, they should be a lot bigger, we still have those weird two curved pieces. They're just kind of hard to see, but they are there. So that is a little more screen accurate in that sense. Now, the next big difference in these two are how the legs actually work. On the Cinereplicas version of the Firebolt, the legs have to lock either in the riding position or they lock into the, I guess, carrying around, mounting on your wall position, whatever you want to call that. You have to lock them in one or the other, and you do that with 4 screws and an Allen wrench. Now, the big issue here, which we will get into in a minute, is the problems with the way these screw in, and we will get into that in just a second. But on the Noble Collection version, once you get those put in, those are able to sway in both positions. So if you hang it on the wall, they're going to fall down and be in that position to be able to hang on your wall. If you want to hold the broom like you're riding it, they're going to swing down and be in the right position. So they're always going to be in the right position on whichever way you hold the broom. They're not locked into a certain area. You don't have to get out an Allen wrench. You don't have to get out a screwdriver. You don't have to make any adjustments. You just take it and go, which is going to make it a lot easier for cosplaying. Also, the big difference in the two for cosplaying purposes, if you're looking for a broom for cosplay, is the Noble Collection version is going to be a lot more of a sturdier cosplaying broom to carry around. Now, it is super heavy, so at the end of the day, you're going to be wore out carrying this broom around, but it is going to be able to handle getting beat up a little bit more at a Comic-Con or any kind of cosplay event versus the Cinereplicas. The Cinereplicas, you're going to have bristles breaking, you're going to have all kinds of issues, you're going to have to adjust the legs. It's not ideal for cosplay. It's also, I believe, a little bit heavier than the Noble Collection version because it is made of solid wood, so you have that as well. So I would definitely not use the Cinereplicas version for cosplay. If you were to purchase this, it would be for display purposes only. The next big difference in the two is the way you can display them. What is really cool about the Noble Collection brooms is every Noble Collection broom has a mount that actually goes onto your wall, and you can hang the broom in an upright position. And so they have that for the Firebolt. They also have that for the Nimbus 2001, and they look stunning on your walls with those mounts. So I really enjoy the fact that Noble Collection offers a way to be able to mount your broom in that way. Now, the Cinereplicas version does not come with anything for mounting. You are left on your own to figure out mounting. Now, you can find ways to mount your brooms. That is not super difficult, but it does take some trial and error. You do have to do some research to find out what's the best way to hang your broom, which thankfully the Gryffindor collector, shout out to him, I'm sure he's watching this video, and I'm going to talk more about him in a minute. He sent me a way to be able to hang this Firebolt on my wall, and so I will be hanging this up today and getting it displayed. So if you want to see it displayed on the wall, make sure you follow us over on Instagram, because I'll be posting some pictures and videos and stuff of it hung up once I get it up on the wall, because I'm super excited about at least getting it up on the wall, because right now it makes me really nervous being where it's at and having to move it all the time. Lastly, one of the really cool things that comes with the Cinereplicas version that doesn't come with the Noble Collection version, which isn't honestly like a huge deal, it's just a nice touch, but this is something that I would rather have had a way to hang this, or maybe had some better legs versus this, because I could have went out and purchased this on my own, is that it comes with a feather, a hippogriff feather to be exact. So you know that Harry Potter receives a firebolt from Sirius Black, and the way that Sirius Black lets him know that that firebolt is from him is he sends it with one of Buckbeak's hippogriff feathers. That way he knows that it came from him. So I think that's really cool that they threw that into the box and you're able to attach it to your broom. It just makes it a little bit more magical, makes it feel a little bit more like the one from the films. So that is a cool touch that they did add to that broom. All right, now that we have talked about the differences between the Noble Collection broom and the differences between the Cinereplicas broom, let's talk about who wins in what department, okay? So when it comes down to the actual handle portion of these brooms, I think that the Noble Collection version takes the win on that one. I think the wood grain looks a lot better than the weird greenish gray color that you're going to be getting from the Cinereplicas version. I think it just looks way better. I also think that the way that, I didn't mention this before, but I think that the way that it screws in and locks in is a lot better than this one. This one you have to get exactly right or it's all loose and all over the place and you have a lot of issues with it. So the handle portion of the Noble Collection version wins over the handle portion of this one. Now this one is wood and the top of it does look beautiful because it is all wood grain, but that bottom weird greenish gray really kind of takes you out of it, and so I think that Noble Collection wins in the handle department. When it comes to the leg department, when it comes to the way they look, if you're going off of looks alone, I would say that the color scheme of the Cinereplicas version is going to look better than the color scheme of the Noble Collection version. But there are things on the Noble Collection version that make it more screen accurate as far as details, not talking color, versus the Cinereplicas. And so I think that because the legs are so difficult to mess with on the Cinereplicas version versus the Noble Collection version, just in that sense alone, Noble Collection wins again for at least the simplicity of the legs and the ease of being able to use those legs. If we're talking color scheme, then Cinereplicas is going to win the color scheme department. If we move down into the bristle portion of these two brooms, I really do love the bristle portion of the Cinereplicas. If we're going off of looks alone, I think that for me, between the two, the Cinereplicas version, just looks alone, is going to win for looks. Now, when it comes to quality and long lasting and which one is going to stand the test of time, that's definitely going to go to the Noble Collection version. It is definitely going to last you the test of time. It is going to hold up. You're going to be able to cosplay with it. You're going to be able to do things with this broom that you cannot do with this broom. And so I think in looks department, if you get a broom that has a really full set of bristles, I think that the Cinereplicas version can beat out and will beat out the Noble Collection version as far as looks go. If we're talking durability and long lastingness, then yes, definitely the Noble Collection version is going to outbeat the Cinereplicas version. Then if you take into the fact that the Noble Collection version has a way to hang your broom up on the wall and the Cinereplicas version does not have a way to hang it up, Noble Collection wins that department for displayability. Lastly, if we're looking at price, once again, the Noble Collection version is $2.99 versus the Cinereplicas version, which is going to be $4.99. So when it comes to price, Noble Collection, of course, is going to win that department as well. So if we take all of this and we put it all together, at the end of the day, the Noble Collection version outbeats the Cinereplicas version night and day. It just is what it is. So if you are looking for a Firebolt broomstick and you can't decide between the two, I think your main decision makings need to be, one, am I just displaying this, or is this going to be something that I want to carry around? Two, it needs to be, once I get it displayed, am I going to leave it in that same position, or will I want to move it around? You need to think about those things because one's going to be easier than the other. And then three, I think you have to decide on price and whether or not you feel like you are getting a premium broom with that premium price tag? Or would you rather spend a little less money and have a broom that's going to really hold up and stand the test of time? So I think that those decisions are just something that you have to kind of weigh out. But for me personally, if I had to recommend a broom to go out and purchase between the two, I will probably recommend the Noble Collection version over the Cinereplicas version. Don't get me wrong, I do think this is a great broom. I do think that it is beautiful to look at, but there are too many problems with this broom, which we are going to get into next, versus the Noble Collection version. The Noble Collection version, you take it out of the box, you put it together, it's ready to mount, it's ready to display, it's ready to cosplay. You don't have to worry about it breaking. It's going to stand the test of time. Okay, so when it comes to the bristles themselves, I think what has happened is they've used these really long bristles that come up and go to this portion of the broom and then stop. And then I think that they've cut smaller branches that are around the same size and shoved them into this top piece here. Now the problem is the way that these are held in, whether that's glue or whatever, it is not working, okay? It is not working. This stuff is literally falling out onto the ground. This piece is literally, I'm not gonna pull on it, but these two pieces are so loose, they're about to fall out, they're almost unglued. I've had multiple people message me with just handfuls of this stuff that is falling out of their broom. And for $500, that should not be happening. They should have paid a little bit more attention when it comes to that. I mean, I'm talking handfuls of parts of bristles just falling out of this. It's also not completely and utterly stacked in there. You can see where the portion that the handle screws into, you can see it really badly. It's not like a make or break for me that I can see that, but the whole part of the bristles falling out, that's a big problem, especially for $500. Now, I've been seeing little pieces breaking off of brooms as well. That I haven't had like a huge issue with on my broom. I've been very delicate with it, but this stuff here, I've been seeing just over and over and over again. The Gryffindor collector actually sent me a bunch of stuff showing his falling out. Had a few other people send me of theirs falling out as well. And then it seems to be that the legs have a major problem. They have a major problem. And what I'm talking about is down on the bottom part of this broom, if you look, there are 4 different screws there. 2 are on the legs themselves, and then the other 2 are on this portion here. Now, once you get these legs in, you can either lock it into the riding position, which it is in right now, or you can lock it in the display position. Once you get it into the display position, if you're going to hang it like on a wall, you really don't have too many problems. It kind of screws in pretty well. When you go to lock it into this position, without taking this apart and showing you, it's going to be hard to explain, and I honestly do not want to take it apart just because of how many problems I've had on it, is you'll get one side locked in. So the right side, I believe, is the one that I'm having problems with. So the left side I got locked in. I could get both screws in just fine, but when it came to the other side, the screw that goes into this portion right here, if you can see that, it would not go down. And what's happening is there's a piece of metal on this leg, and it can only turn so far. It's got a locking mechanism to where this is as far as it'll go this way. But the problem is the lip. When you go to screw that screw in, it's catching on that lip, and there's nothing you can do to fix it. So you have to literally just screw down as hard as you can. And what I've noticed is it's just butchering the inside of that leg. So major issues with the legs. It's not easy to do. Like, honestly, I dread messing with the legs. Anytime I have to mess with the legs, I was going to try to hang it on the Noble Collection mount just to see if it would fit, which it wouldn't. And so I took the legs and put them in the down position, and it was a nightmare trying to get them back into this position. And that seems to be an issue with a lot of other people. I've had people reach out to me, said that they've had their fathers try to help them, they've had their loved ones try to help them, and it is a problem. So it's not just me, it's multiple people having these issues with the bristles falling out, the legs not locking in properly. So quality control is an issue with this broom. Another thing, and I don't have personal experience with this, so this is just from what I'm being told, is that the customer service is not going very well when it comes to this broom. People are having issues, they're reaching out to Cinereplicas, and they're pretty much like, you bought it, it's yours, and they're not being very friendly in trying to get refunds or returns or replacements or whatever the case may be. Once again, I have no intentions on returning this. I plan on getting it mounted and leaving it alone, but that's just what I've been told from other collectors that they are having issues with. Another thing that I would like to talk about when it comes to this broom is this handle here. It, for some reason, stays loose if you try to keep it in the right position. No matter where you put this handle on to try to start screwing it down, it will never stop directly up and down in the right position with it being tight. So it'll always be loose. If I go completely tight, it's going to cock the handle all the way to the side. And I've tried multiple different times setting the broom at different ways before I start screwing, trying to reach that spot that it's supposed to be in, and it will never reach there, unlike the Noble Collection that is lined up perfectly. So if you get it to where it's supposed to be, it's going to be loose and start to unscrew. If you tied it all the way down, it's going to be cockeyed to one side, and it's just not going to look right. So lots of issues. I still think that it is a pretty looking broom as far as the wood goes, but what I would say is if you could take the Noble Collection broom, and you could take the Cinereplicas broom, and you could take what's amazing about this broom and what's amazing about that broom, and you mesh them together, you would have the perfect Firebolt broomstick for your collection. So maybe one day someone will be able to do that, and we will have a really accurate and well maintained broomstick that will not only look amazing, but stand the test of time as well. So I just wanted to point out those issues with this broom, because I'm telling you, for $500, you expect quality. I expect quality. As a collector, you expect quality. That's a lot of money. So to be getting a $500 broom with bristles falling out, legs not locking in properly, just all the little issues that people are having with these brooms, it's very sad, especially if the customer service issues are accurate and they are not being very helpful in getting replacements or refunds. That's super sad, and I personally cannot recommend this broom to anyone. So at the end of the day, I still say the Noble Collection broom is going to be the way to go over this one. It's going to beat it out in price, it's going to beat it out in quality, it's going to beat it out in durability, it's going to beat it out in a lot of things. The only thing that this has over that one is the fact that this one is made of real wood versus resin. So hopefully this video has been helpful to you. Maybe it's helped you make a decision on whether or not you want to go with one or the other. Do you want real wood? Do you want resin? Do you want something that looks super realistic? Do you want something that's going to stand the test of time and have durability but also look amazing at the same time? Are you wanting to pay a huge premium price? Do you want to pay a decent price? Do you want something that's limited edition and only 10,000 of them are made in the world? Or do you want something that's going to continue to be made until they decide that they're going to discontinue it? Those choices are up to you. I'm just here to tell you the pros and cons of both, my experience with both, the experience that others are having with both, and just compare the two. And like I said, at the end of the day, I think the Noble Collection version wins over the Cinereplicas version, but that choice on which one you want to buy ultimately ends up in your hands, but hopefully, like I said, this helped you make a decision. Thank you so much as always for watching. I really appreciate all the love and lumos that you show here on the channel. Once again, if you love Harry Potter, the Wizarding World, Fantastic Beasts, Hogwarts Legacy, anything in those departments, please consider subscribing if you're not subscribed. If you are subscribed, hit that notification bell. That way you're notified of any future videos that I post here on the channel. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll speak to you again very soon. Knox.
Doesn't quite understand me. Know what I mean?
Woohoo!